It's not try it.
Why would I try?
Just try it. Stop it and eat it. Stop. Crinkle it up first. Crinkle it up. There's a whole bunch of
You can't spill the tea.
I'm gonna go die.
Yeah, the box of
Do you know where you put it?
Kim said go die. Yeah. Kim said go die, so I'm going to die.
I'm going to die.
Kim said go die, so might as well.
Yeah, random things.
You get 2 layers of paper.
For me, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 6 for me.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I have to go to the
7 and 3.
And this is not a genuine
I'm gonna break
coffee.
my Yeah, it is.
And that's skinny box.
Wrap it around the top.
They're down at the end.
And then we put the.
Here is.
Oh, wait, no, you put the
I didn't
rubber band
see
on all of it.
Yeah.
If you need help, I bet I'm the only one who has.
I guess like that.
That's right.
Hunter will show you how to do it.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yep.
You're joking, Andrew.
Where's he at?
I don't even know what I'm doing.
She's out of the question, Jessica. Well, I mean, that's what it is, right?
Help me unload mine.
Oh.
If you really did want to help, I would have.
I'm already done.
I actually didn't have to cut them.
Do another one.
You just had to load it? Yeah. Yeah, my friend, look, Josh Moyer, he's in church today. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but he's got a nice property off of Water Street. Big chunk of woods in here, so, yeah, 8 acres, chunk of woods, he's got logs
I
back
don't know
in
how
there.
they do it.
So yeah, once in a while, he's trying to trade it, he's making our yard bigger.
Alright, let's go.
Yeah, white oak.
I believe it is.
My back knows it's white oak.
Come on over here and we'll differentiate it.
But yeah, that's my favorite firework. Well, probably, yeah, that's right down the road. Yeah, I used to go to the bridge and said about some better.
Oh my gosh, I have no problem. Do you still have your chickens?
I noticed that just from firewood that if you let the red oak sit in the ground, it doesn't take long to start making
So do another one. All the eggs. I crushed my egg. I'm not good at this.
You crushed your egg.
I don't have gentle
Oh,
hands.
okay.
I really like locusts for that too. Locust birds. Yeah, it's hard to find. Is that the drops the giant fruit?
Sprinkle, yes, sprinkle.
Yeah, you're right. Someone told me that.
Mulberry trees that berry on the tree, it almost looks like a huckleberry. The birds like to eat it,
Okay.
but you don't find any big mulberries like they're often smaller. But when you cut it, the inside.
Hey, Jeff, here, you have to try.
You do?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Oh, you picture your.
Yes, this is Aflac. Hunter, is that yours that you put in there? You left in there?
Oh,
Transferring it over.
that's fine.
Double.
That's fine, and now I know I'm here for another one.
Jimbo
Mine
egg.
actually, I can dot mine, polka dotted, because
That right there.
Where are the dogs?
Right here. Miss Yes. Where's Miss Yes?
What are you doing?
Where's
Where did Miss Jessica?
She's in an important meeting.
So she actually had to do something.
Okay, I said I did too.
Don't want you the 2 mile runner?
I should have brought
Do we do
like
another
one
one?
of my
If
96
they want,
eggs.
sure.
Okay, I'll just go. Duh, I ran it freshman year. Okay, never mind. Everyone's like done, I think.
So we have a microwave that's about this big, and like our countertop space has just just enough for, not even enough, barely enough for 2 egg carton stall. And so we have like an 18 carton, a 12, and an 18, and then 2 18 stacked in front with another 18 almost full beside them. So we almost have 100 eggs, and we don't have anything to do with them. We give them away, and then every once in a while they'll give us money, like for my mom's friends at work or somebody. But the other ones that we get, at least like 12 a day, we don't know what to do with. So we could have brought some. I didn't know we were doing this today.
Good, it's a good day to cook out.
Get them all done?
Oh my gosh, I gotta wash my hands.
I think that's enough.
Sweating my back all day.
I don't know, I never did this.
Finally.
There you go, now that's tie-dye, John, well done. Jess, I did the.
Okay, good.
Get it sealed at the top. You got them all done? Good job, team.
That might be enough.
You're gonna know, these are gonna be fun weapons.
Like the hockey sticks.
Make sure you don't.
You can double dip.
Now I just have to do a rubber band.
I was with my brothers.
Alright, we'll see how they turn out.
Oh my god.
I have no
You did.
Is that where you live?
What's up with you? What's up with like the tummy?
Alright, thank you guys.
Somebody just hit me.
And you can go
That
back
was
to your
me. That was me. Bethany, that was me. There's an accident. I was trying to hit red.
I said something.
You just so happen to be in the direction that it curved.
Debbie was really good.
Ammo.
In my pretty class,
Oh,
I have like a $30,000 pretty printer. What's up?
What's up?
I'm gonna hop on my truck after you.
Sure, where you going? Huh? Is it?
No, I don't trust you. What are you talking about?
Walk away.
Alright, we're done here.
I see. I see.
I know.
Oh, Hunter, I gotta show you my belt. I got a hunting belt.
Huh?
I gotta show you my hunting belt.
Your what?
I want
If you need to wash the vinegar on your hands, go ahead.
What?
Clark, did you do an egg? Thank you. Have you ever done that before?
Miss Jess, if I would have known that we were doing the eggs today, I would have brought one of the almost 100 egg
That's
cartons
cool.
or eggs on my countertop.
Well, now you can make these with, you can take some of the supply foam if you want.
Yeah, but I would have brought some because I don't have a use for any of them really.
You don't have a use for eggs?
Besides eat them, but we get too many a day to eat all of them.
Oh,
We get more than 12 a day.
you eat 12 eggs a day?
No, we eat like 4 eggs a day if we eat eggs at all. My dad eats like 2 eggs a day. Almost
I
every
eat 2
day.
eggs a day.
Yeah, but we get 12 or more eggs a day from our chickens. Oh, boom, headshot.
Oh, what is she eating? Jean Bragg.
Alright, go back to your I did. Well done, team.
Do not throw these. Can't even see it.
No, they're.
I like how she has her back.
Good.
All right.
I know how to get you out of your chair now.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm
I swear if you drop it off the video, I'll choke you.
Is that for a minute? All right.
Hey, you stole my seat.
Raleigh, there's one right beside John.
Yeah, right here. Right there.
Or there.
Okay, well. Welcome everybody to part 2 of our in real life. You remember, if you were here the first week, we talked about things like accountability and just being the kind of friend that you want to be, but also being looking for the kind of friends you need in your life if you were here the first night. And tonight, we're going to shift gears a little bit and we're going to answer this question. Who is influencing you? Right off the top of your head. Okay, what do I mean by influencing? Who in your life, or what in your life, because it might not be just a who, it could be a what, is shaping who you are? Simon, do I need to take that from you?
No.
Possible.
Maybe.
Probably.
Does anybody have an answer? What's one thing in your life that,
How many are we on the list?
as many as you want? What do you think?
Probably my cousin or my friend Blake.
Okay. So somebody in your family,
Yeah.
and your cousin is probably pretty close in age to you?
Yeah.
So it might be like a peer or a friend. Okay? Kylie?
Like Bible stories, like all those, like the shepherd and all those, like you can do that in your life, like be kind to others, like watch over.
Okay, so you would say the Bible influences you. Okay? Anyone else?
Sometimes my memories influence me.
Oh, interesting. A good answer. Well, subtly and sneakily, our enemy, who is Satan, has hijacked some of the most important elements for life, and this face-to-face relationship in our lives, in real life, is Snapchatting with someone face-to-face relationship.
No.
Semi.
No.
Well, if Jess knew how to use it and kept a streak.
But is that face-to-face relationship?
No.
Michaela?
Well, I think it depends.
True.
It really does.
It literally doesn't. Like I
Like-
have people that I don't talk to.
Right.
Like at school.
Let's send the weirdest videos.
But if you live like in a different state, like when I was in Florida, that was
It
partially
was
for
a
me.
face-to-face relationship.
Well, like I could see face to face. Like I could see your face and you could see mine, but you never snapped me back. So
Okay, well, there are things that influence us positively or negatively, and all things we're going to talk about tonight. If you imagine your life on a line, and God is here, and your life is here, all the things that influence us either move us toward God or move us away from God, when you get right down to it. Okay? And we're going to see 4 things right now that influence you. All right? The first one is Mr. Computer.
Is that like a villain? That sounds like a cartoon villain, like the Nickelodeon.
Hold on, let me
Mr. Computer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what it was.
Good morning, Mrs. Dillman. I'm here in your class today.
I
My third grade teacher.
That's the third option.
Oh, wait a minute. I did that homework assignment. Well, maybe I can. I'm not sure. Let me check. I'll check later on that. Okay.
You're talking to your computer.
I'm talking to my teacher.
It's an
That's your computer, I don't hear you.
Online classes.
Thank you,
I'm a
Mr.
good
Computer.
lip reader. She speaks very softly.
You can just stand over here, Mr. Computer.
Yeah,
Over the last 2 years, stay with me here. Over the last 2 years, distance learning has become a thing. How many of you have had a similar experience with your computer and a teacher? You've had a conversation, or with a coach, or with your youth leader.
Or with
Some of you I've seen on Zoom. And I'm not saying that this is all bad, but can anybody here attest to that distance learning sometimes is challenging?
Yes.
Okay? I mean, I'll give my son credit. He's doing all V3 this year and all distance learning. And I don't know how you learn calculus distance learning, but somehow he's passing it.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So, I think this has become a barrier socially for us. And if you've done a lot of distance learning, I think some of you can feel that void of not being in relationship face to face with a teacher, with a classmate. Okay, let's next meet Mrs. iPhone.
Ooh, my face.
The one that I'm not associated with.
Take out my.
Oh my gosh!
I
can't even believe it.
That's how I talk on the phone.
Yeah, I just shout my mouth.
Seriously?
Hey, in the hallway today too. Oh, I wish you wore that.
Oh!
I wouldn't even be caught dead in that. Did you see that boy?
Oh my god.
Hey, you better hang up. You're getting a lot of snaps. I hear it.
Oh my gosh!
Ding, 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 ding. Check your snaps.
Oh my gosh, do you hear? Oh!
I'm breaking up.
All right. Do the Snapchat lips. Snapchat lips. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. iPhone. According to research, your generation has increased by somewhere between 44 to 62% has increased their use of social media in the last year. Can you raise your hand if that has been you?
Wait, what do you mean by that? Like content? Or-
Like you have increased your use of social media.
For tests.
Oh,
Raise your
definitely.
hand. She's like,
All right.
I have a Twitter account.
Next, let's
Gene.
meet Mr. Netflix.
Oh yeah!
This is like watching my
Greatest
homework.
thing ever. Oh, Rockies!
You better be
I
watching
can watch
TV,
binge
Laura.
the Rockies today. If only they delivered food. I could watch TV and eat from my bed all day long. This is fantastic. I don't even have to get dressed. Go Rocky! Yes.
Thanks for that image, Mr. Netflix. In the last year, listen to this statistic. Increased binging of streaming services has been up over 70%. How many of you have Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu or all of the above?
Don't like it.
Okay, and lastly, let's meet Mr. Video Controller.
I do not play video games.
Oh wait, can I have that? That's pretty cool. That's okay. Wait, I'm just gonna point this out. Nobody plays video games like that.
My brother used to. He would play with it.
Yeah, no, that's right.
You're not even playing with it.
Thank you, Mr. Controller.
Mr. Controller.
Another startling statistic over the last year, gaming has increased over 59% in Gen Zs.
That does not surprise me at all.
Not too much.
Well,
These are startling statistics.
That is not startling at all.
So, as we look at this,
Oh, that was a good.
Oh, I saw that.
as we look at this,
Or Rhett saw that.
is this what is influencing you? If you say, nah, if you say, not me, I would probably beg to differ.
A little bit.
That 1, 2, 3, or all of those things are influencing you. Give your actress and actors a round of applause.
Good job,
you can get an A++.
Oh,
I know, guys.
So, overall, time spent on these things totals a 15% increase in people's lives since the pandemic. So just think about this. In a 24-hour day, everybody has 24 hours. Nobody has more than that. That is 3.6 hours on top of what you were doing before the pandemic. So you spent 3.6 more hours a day being influenced by this stuff. And yet psychologists still want to deny that the increase in media consumption over the generations contributes, they want to deny that this does not contribute to the fact that depression and anxiety and mental illness is on the rise in the teenagers. And tonight what we're gonna I'm gonna throw at you is what's missing isn't this stuff. What's missing is what we are doing right now, folks. Face to face.
Conversations.
Now it's best friend. That's not allowed to happen.
All right. How many of you? I heard some of you. I went to the slide too quick. How many of you watched this?
Read it on my
You watched it?
which is
I did
very
not.
infuriating.
Fred, did you enjoy it?
I watched one similar to that.
Okay.
I don't think I watched that.
What does anybody know what the premise of the social dilemma is? This was on is probably still on Netflix.
Talk about Facebook. I think.
Wasn't it like something like
I don't think I watched
Facebook
it.
stealing your information or something like that?
It talks about like the psychology behind it. So like the instant gratification that you feel like as soon as you get a notification, you have to check it because you're being trained to like that is a enforcer of your use of technology.
There are algorithms. I'll give you an example. Simon and I sat down and started looking at some colleges a couple weeks ago. Guess what now pops up on my phone all the time?
Yeah. They're spying on us.
It's an algorithm. What you search for drives what they put in front of you. So, in my case, it was something very innocent and something that I'm interested in right now in colleges. But let's say I go one lonely night and search for hot men I want to look at.
Excuse me.
Raleigh, you think this doesn't happen?
I'm sure it does, but
I'm not saying I do it. But now think about what my phone is putting in front of me more and more and more. And then we wonder why people have addictions. All right? So the whole premise of the social dilemma is to really prey on you and what you're looking for. It's kind of scary. If you watch this, it's very scary. So they make money by making you change the way you think, what you do, how you do it, who you are. It is a gradual change. It is a slight thing. And we are all in the midst of it. Except maybe Clark, because he doesn't have an iPhone yet.
I don't.
That is a prank.
I love using
All right. So I don't want this to sound like, okay, we went to youth group and all Jess did was bash technology. So it's not all bad. I get that. Technology is not all bad.
Controllers are great.
But we need to become, I like these terms, time stewards and media leveragers with how we consume our media.
I don't understand.
All right, what's a time steward? How do you steward something? Anybody know that
I
word?
don't even know what steward means.
Well, that's what we're getting to. Anybody know that word? Go ahead.
Is it the movie Stuart Little?
No, that's
That
spelled differently.
What?
Make sure.
I think it's like a keeper.
No, it's not a butler.
It's a keeper. Protector, maybe.
Okay, if the church gives me $5,000 for our youth budget, which they do, for the high school and middle school, all right? Total.
I think he had it back there, I don't think you heard it.
Who? Simon? Red?
Rhett, what did you say?
I said managers.
Okay, a manager. So let's use my example. If the church gives me $5,000 for middle school and high school youth group, and I decide to go buy 4 PS5s to put in the youth room, and blow the whole budget on PS5, so when you guys come, you can play PS5. Would you say, and do you think the church would say, that I was being a good steward or manager of the money that they gave me?
They would say,
I mean, like, if you have, like, do you have leftover money, or?
I have no idea. How much does a PS5 cost?
It's probably about 500 right now.
So that would be a significant part of the budget. So that means you couldn't go on a retreat. That means we couldn't do any fun things. I couldn't buy things, for the ministry. It would blow it all. Is that being a good manager of the money? Okay, so let's think of that in terms of time. A good time steward. How do you steward? How do you manage your time? According to these statistics, most of you are managing your time on one of those 4 things. That's a big chunk of your time. All right, and then a media leverager. What do you think that means?
They want you to do things, they give you reasons to do stuff on media. They give you drama.
Gotta make you valedictorian.
It's not gonna happen. The chances of that happening are
But
like
I'm gonna make you smarter. A media leverager.
Someone that.
Oh, makes you recommend
Someone
this.
that's in control or something?
Making good choices. Yeah.
Oh.
We can be in control of what we see, what we listen to, and how much.
Don't personalize that.
Right? Okay. So, what if we replaced all the time with face-to-face? What if we did work to make our family relationships better, our friendships better, and all the people in our lives have more meaningful relationships? Instead of this. Okay? Alright. And like we talked about last time, I think we all crave this whether we want to admit it or not, because this is how God made us. He made us for relationships. Last time we talked a lot about how your generation is the most connected generation, and yet you are the most lonely. Because you're connected digitally, but not physically. All right, so last time we talked about the book of
Proverbs.
Very good, Rob.
Oh my gosh.
He said it.
I say that.
All right, so
I was thinking of what he said.
I forgot. I'm gonna give you some real live friendship groups. Tell me if you can recognize any of these. See if you know who they are. First one.
Stranger Things. I only recognize.
Tell me about. I watched the first 5 minutes of this and was creeped out. Are they good friends?
Maybe a little bit.
No, I know. I didn't watch this.
Me
I've
either.
only seen like the first
I mean,
episode.
they do fight like.
Saturday
I
show?
do.
Or- I never really.
No, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
I have seen it all the time, not like watching it, but I've seen it so many times.
I'd say 80. I have no idea.
This is a little old school but pretty retro and popular right now.
I don't think they are.
Friends.
That's from my college era.
How about that?
Friends, they all, well, they didn't all live together, but they all hung out at the Central Perk, the coffee shop, and centered around, you know, all their dating relationships and craziness. Anybody know this group of friends?
Big Bang Theory.
Cell phone.
I barely can see. Hold
Big
on.
Bang Theory?
Oh, I already heard that.
What is their commonality? They're a bunch of
Nerds.
They're a bunch of nerds, right? Now I'm gonna throw it. Adults don't answer. Does anybody know who this is?
Oh man, I
Is that from, oh wait, it's from
Anybody?
It's the two women.
Oh, it's
Yeah. They have their own show. They live in, they like work
Yeah.
at a beer factory and they like.
Yep, you're
Oh, what's
getting
it called? Oh my gosh, I watched it with my grandma. It's the two names of the women. I think that's
Laverne and Shirley.
that one.
And these were their friends, somebody in Squiggy. Lenny and Squiggy. And they were friends. Another one retro but coming back. Anybody
Saved
know
by
who
the
that
Bell.
is? Saved by the Bell.
I used to watch
This guy just died.
Which one?
Screech.
Screech.
Oh, yeah.
The curly head guy? But the OD or?
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. No, I think you don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Why couldn't you make the webpage on this?
This one?
All American.
Everybody watch All American
Yeah,
Friendships?
Brett made me.
Very realistic Beverly Hills friendships.
I never heard of it.
Wasn't that?
It's on
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
it's on Netflix, but it's also on the CW. It's on regular TV.
Can't watch the new season on Netflix.
And lastly,
Like releasing.
Cobra Kai.
the
Yeah,
Cobra Kai
I'm
friendships.
on my third watch through of
I'm
that.
trying to look at Rob, you'll get Netflix.
I want to make sure I.
Sorry, Kate.
Especially when you put your hair up.
You're not allowed to.
All right. So we're gonna talk about the four areas that I think we need to think about in terms of our influence. We're gonna go through these pretty quickly and give you time to talk in small groups a little bit before we go. So the first one is media and culture, and I want to share with you this verse. Hopefully this verse is familiar. Somebody read it for us.
Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life.
Okay. I know that if we don't guard our heart to what is culturally relevant, and it will not line up with the Word of God. It will not. If movies, TV shows, what's in the news, what's on politics, what's in social media, what the celebrities are doing, if that is my compass, okay? In other words, if I'm doing what they say, what's going to happen to me?
Very confused.
I'm going to be very confused. And it's going to be very easy for me, if God is here, it's going to be very easy for me to go all down that line away from God. Because most of those things are not concerned about following God, right? One marketing company put it out this way, and they told this and made this goal to all the top advertisers. Advertisers are the people that put out ads to make you want to buy their stuff. They said this should be your goal. Reset Gen Z, that's you guys. Did you know you're Gen Z? Reset their view of the world. That should be their goal for the top advertisers. They're targeting you. Do you know that?
It's called personalized ads.
Our world offers us the question and the answer they want us to believe. Here's the question. What's friendship?
Online.
Friendship is what you say it is. What's normal relationship between your parents? This is what it is. What's success? We'll tell you what it is on this show. What's love? We'll show you all kind of definitions of what love is. And this is a big one. What's truth?
Not false.
Not lying.
This is truth. And then you look somewhere else and they'll say, well, that's truth. And then somebody else will say, it is truth. I've heard this expression. You do you. I mean, you've said that. You do you. If everybody in the world just does you, look out. That is not a compass that I want to follow. All right? We are being hooked by Satan. All right. Next one. What's influencing you? What was the first one?
Chicken. Oh, sorry. Computer, Mr. Computer. What are we talking about?
Media. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
Media. Second, what's influencing you or should influence or be influencing you?
Friends.
Okay. Now, when we think of iconic friendships, we think of those that showed up on our screen earlier, right? We think of Friends, we think of the Cobra Kai people, they're iconic friends. We think of Charlie and Snoopy, or I don't know, who are some other iconic friendships?
Sister's Club? The Babysitter's Club.
Yeah?
What? Wait, I don't know.
And maybe you have an epic group of friends. I don't know. But regardless, the people we hang out with influence us positively or negatively. And you will never, ever convince me otherwise. Simon's basketball banquet Friday night, the key speaker said this. He said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay. So you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So think about that.
You're a little bit of each. Is that what that means?
Mm-hmm. And if the bad average is really weighing you down, it helps weigh you down. I'll always remember Carter Lewis Laporte stood up in front of the church on his senior moment and challenged you guys, the younger classmen. He said, it matters who you hang out with.
Yeah.
It matters who you hang out with. So we need to be wise in who we have the majority of our time and attention. Because let's face it, your parents don't have the majority of your time and attention. Your friends do. Right? So some great verses from Proverbs. Again, who wrote Proverbs? Anybody remember?
I don't know.
Solomon. So we're going to just read through some of these scriptures. Go ahead, first one, go. Someone.
The seeds of good deeds become a tree of life. A wise person wins friends.
Next one, go.
Walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble.
Next one.
Stay away from fools, for you won't find knowledge on their lips. The prudent understand where they are going, the fools deceive themselves.
And one more.
Don't befriend angry people or associate with hot-tempered people, or you will learn to be like them and endanger your soul.
And this is just the icing on the cake in Proverbs, packed full of great wisdom for you about friendships. But I want to talk to you tonight about an idea called rooted to reach. What I mean by this, we talked about our inner circle last time. Remember that? Think for a second, who are your inner circle? Who are your closest friends? That's your inner circle. Not the people you sometimes hang with, but if you had to pick, like your top 4 or 5 friends, your inner circle. Yes, Rob?
What if we literally only have one friend?
Well, that's okay. They're part of your circle. All right? So just think about that. These people, if you remember last time, are to bring us encouragement, enjoyment, and accountability. All right? And I believe that in most instances, our best friends should share our Christian faith. How many of you agree with that statement? Our best friends should share our faith. And I want you to think about why. Think about those verses we just read. I'm not saying we shouldn't have friends that aren't Christians, but look at these 2 trees. What I'm saying is that they should be our branches, not our roots. And what I mean by that is the base of our friendships, the roots, those are the people influencing us the most, right? That's where we find the roots to be strong. So the roots should be the Christian people in our life that can encourage us and support us in that faith. And then our non-Christian friends can become those branches. Because what happens if the roots are poor. You see the other example there, right? So just think about that and who is influencing you and the friends that you have. Okay? Because I think it is valuable because, like I said, this is the number one influencer in your life is these friend groups. Are you rooted to reach? All right? All right. Next lovely topic.
Oh, I don't do that
I'm too young.
Yes, but guess what? One day you will get there. You can learn how to handle conflict from dating. You can learn how to be in a good relationship and how to make Jesus the center of it. All right? I dated a guy, this John guy, I talked a little bit about him before. That it was not a Christian. I mean, he was pretty much an atheist, and he told me that. And I was like, oh, this was the guy, remember I told you we went to Chi-Chi's all the time? He was older than me, and he could drive, and all his friends could drive, and we thought that we were cool because we'd go to Chi-Chi's and they put this umbrella on your hat, and it was always somebody's birthday. Well, he was not a Christian. And at first, I just, it doesn't matter. And over time, it mattered. He didn't want to come to youth group with me. He didn't want anything to do with the church. He said God didn't love him because his parents got divorced. And he just stuck to that. All right? So if you're dating, this is a lovely story from the book of Proverbs. Gonna read it to you. This is in the Bible, folks. While I was at the window of my house, I saw some naive young man, and one in particular who lacked common sense. He was crossing the street near the house of an immoral woman, strolling down the path by her house. It was at twilight in the evening as deep darkness fell. The woman approached him, seductively dressed and sly of heart. She was brash, rebellious type, never content to stay at home. She's often in the streets and markets, soliciting on the corner. Call those people hookers. Okay, I was going to say prostitute, but hooker works. She threw her arms around him and kissed him, and with a brazen look she said, I've just made my peace offerings and fulfilled my vows. This is in the Bible, folks. You're the one I'm looking for. I came out to find you, and you are here. My bed is spread with beautiful blankets, the colored sheets of Egyptian linens. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us drink our full of love until morning. Let us enjoy each other's caresses, for my husband isn't home. He is away on a long trip. He has taken a wallet full of money with him, and he won't return until later this month. So she seduced him with her pretty speech and enticed him with her flattery. He followed her at once, like an ox going to the slaughter. What is Solomon getting at here? This sounds like a Netflix special. Not the Bible. What do you think, Kylie?
I mean, it's not the right thing to do because, like, she's married and stuff, and I think he's trying to get, like, you're not supposed to do that, and, like, because you're supposed to be with your husband, not supposed to.
She is married. Yeah. Her husband left.
Her husband says a husband.
It says,
Oh, it literally says it.
bruh.
Yes. So I think what he's getting at and what I want us to focus on here is that how easy it is to fall into lust and not love. What's the difference between lust and love?
One is where you can and the other one's where you actually like
Do something. What do you mean, Rolling?
Why would you let
What?
saxophone intensifies.
Oh, God.
The saxophone intensifies.
I can't say.
Like the music, you mean? Cue the sexy music. Okay. It does happen. So, a lot of things, but one thing I want you to think about with dating, and then we'll move on, is this. Focus on becoming the one rather than finding the one. Okay? What do I mean by that, Emma?
Don't go around. Oh boy, I'm not in.
Focus on being the one rather than looking for the one.
If you do the work for yourself and make yourself be who you want to be with, you'll find somebody who matches that.
Okay? We spend so much of our attention focused on looking for the right one that we're not focused on making ourselves the right one. Kylie.
Like worry about yourself, not others.
Yeah, but in terms of dating, like,
Self-love.
there we go. Here are some questions. How many, is anyone in here in a dating relationship?
Please don't raise your hand.
Well, I mean, some of them are married, some of them are married.
Well, that's not dating. That's totally different. But here are some good questions, and when you start dating, come back to me, and I will give you these questions. Because they're good ones.
Do you small group leader?
Do your parents approve? If your parents don't approve of who you're dating, I know you don't care, but they're wise. Especially Simon's parents. They are really wise.
Very well because of who he started dating, and our parents did not like it. So,
Do your youth leaders approve?
that's important. You
Oh, I like this one. Do you hang out well in groups? Does your significant other when you're dating say, I don't want to hang out with anybody else. I just want you all to myself, baby.
That is
That's
just
weird.
please
Hey,
don't say
hey,
baby. Yes,
All right, next one. Are you crossing physical boundaries that are intended for marriage? Okay?
She says, and she is not.
Is Jesus in first place in your life? And does Jesus come first in, I think it should say their life, and does Jesus come first in your life? Is this the type of person you want to marry? Are you mature enough to be self-giving instead of selfless?
Yes.
Are they serving others on a consistent basis? Oh, I love this one. How do they treat their parents? So those are some really good questions. When, I'm going to keep these handy, so when you come to me and say you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend, I'm going to say, let's go through these questions.
Yes, I would love to.
Some good questions. All right,
It would be great.
and then the last
Parents and family.
one we want to look at is our parents and family. Real quick, I know some of our families are more functional than others. Some are a little dysfunctional, and I don't want to diminish or promote, make fun of anybody's family situation, because the family situations can be a big source of hurt in our lives. I get that, right? But let's also think about the potential influence that your family has on you. How many of you would say your family has been positive influence on you? Okay? And there's bound to be some negative that families do for us too, right? One thing you don't get to pick in life is your parents. You don't. You do get to pick your spouse. Next to picking having a relationship with Jesus, probably the most important decision you'll make in your life, right? But you don't get to pick your parents, and you don't get to pick your family. So instead, maybe put a little bit more of this face-to-face communication relationship into practice. I don't know how you are when you walk in your house. Do you beeline it to your room, close the door, and that's it till you're called for dinner? My guess is many of you do that. And if your door isn't closed, you like your door closed because you have your privacy, right? I'm not calling you out.
You are.
I am reading right here.
You're right, I am.
Do not beeline straight to your room and shut the door. It says right here, I didn't write this.
My room doesn't have a door.
Okay.
Step
How about this? When your parents ask you a question, how was school? Please give an answer other than good. Fred, is that your go-to answer? Fred, impress your parents tomorrow and give them something more than good.
It was the best day ever.
Jeanette has a famous line. She said Mason went to school from kindergarten to 12th grade and every day was good. Fine. He can't possibly have had every day fine at school in 12 years. Everything was fine.
He's probably lying.
All right, so I just want to challenge you with that, to give your parents, and here's why. Read for me this last verse.
My child, listen when your father corrects you. Don't neglect your mother's instruction. What you learn from them will crown you with grace and be a chain of honor around your neck.
Look at that. What you learn will be a crown of grace and a chain of honor around your neck. And I know, I get it. I remember thinking my parents didn't know anything either. I was pretty adamant that they didn't know anything. But I had really good parents. And you know what? They knew more than I thought they did.
Now your parents are smarter than you think.
Thank you, Kylie. All right, I want to give you just 5 or 10 minutes to kind of talk a little bit about these personally with us in a bit of a smaller group. I want to encourage you to be honest and open, and you can just go through these 4 questions and pray and be done. So count off by 3.
You're 2.
2,
I can't even
3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Rhett 2,
You're 3, Bethany.
3.
Yeah.
Clark 1, 2. All right, 1, please. Simon, what number are you?
1.
Okay, 1s go with Jean and Jerry and D.
Whoa, that's supposed to mean. Bethany.